Good morning, Tarkov. Hey, everybody. Apologies for missing yesterday, but I got a little bit of boo-boo on the brain. Yep, all good, though. All good. We don't need to keep... I'm sure people are going to ask about it anyway, but all good today. All good today. Sometimes that might pop up from time to time with the Tuesday mornings because I skate in the mornings on Tuesdays. And sometime in the future, I might also start to skate Friday mornings as well, but I'll have to figure out whether that's a good idea or not. Because I am sitting at my desk a lot these days. I need to get up and get active. I don't get fat. I'm sitting at my desk too much. I gotta get active a bit. But anyway, apologies about missing yesterday, but I got a lot of work done. We can talk a little bit about that today too. The stuff I was doing yesterday, and it should expand into today and tomorrow as well. So there'll be some cool stuff happening this week. But welcome to Good Morning Tarkov. This is the morning show where we talk everything Tarkov from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern United States time over on the YouTube channel. And if you guys do miss any of the cast, the VOD is going to be up pretty soon after the cast is over. It's going to go up with some timestamps in the description and in the top comments so that you guys can keep up with the discussion, because there is going to be a discussion, and then there's also going to be a bit of Q&A. So what we do is usually talk about some point or some topic at the beginning, and then we let everyone in the chat or anyone that's here discuss it or bring up any ideas, or just generally what most of the time ends up happening, almost immediately most of the time as well, is we just end up talking about what I know about the game and what's coming in the future of the game, and asking questions about what's going on with the game and stuff like that. But anyway, it's a general chat Q&A, so it's good for like some long form discussions. So yeah. Sorry again about missing yesterday. As people are showing up, I know people are going to come up with it anyway. Maybe I should put some kind of command or something up on the screen. But yeah, good morning, guys. Morning, Hammer. Morning, Lauren. Morning, Knight. How you donate to your channel? I'm such a new... It's Saggy, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's the super chat stuff, I think, is probably the easiest way if you are a noob for doing that stuff, but you don't need to do that, man. It's all good. If we are expecting a wipe in 12.11, now be careful with what we're saying here, Galax. When can we expect a podcast? I think it would be the week before. So if it doesn't end up happening, I have to make sure I'm correct in how I'm saying this. I thought that maybe tomorrow would be an ideal day for them to say something. So I woke up at 7 a.m. this morning just to see if they tweeted something. Which they didn't, by the way. There was just they did a little bit of an update or something, and it doesn't seem that significant. Maybe they snuck something in, maybe they didn't, but that's definitely not like wipe related or anything, unless maybe what they did this morning was something networking related, or if it generally was actually something maintenance related. Sometimes what happens with those, and if we're going completely off the rails fucking crazy here, sometimes what they do is they'll sneak in the pre-wipe event sometimes in those. But I don't think that's what they did with this one. I think this just was a maintenance thing, and maybe they found some kind of bug and they found a quick fix for it, or they found some kind of desync issue and they found a quick fix for it, or they moved some servers around, or they moved some things around for rivals over the past 2 weeks and now they're moving them back. Maybe that's what happened as well. Could be anything. So yeah, tomorrow is a big day because I think that makes the most sense for them to say something important about if they were going to say something this week about a podcast or about a potential patch or anything like that. I think tomorrow would be the day. So yeah, keep ears and eyes out for anything that pops up tomorrow from BSG for sure. But other than that, or past that, start looking for next week afterwards. and we'll see what pops up. But of course, if anything does pop up, you'll hear it here first as well. I'll make sure I let you guys know from Twitter, from the community section, which I hope a lot of you guys know about the community section over on YouTube. If you go to the main page and you see the right under the search bar there, or right under the top of the screen there with the background art and stuff, there's a bunch of options there with uploads, playlists, and then part of that is community, where it's just texts. It's just me putting little text posts and then sometimes pictures and stuff like that. I use that a lot here, so make sure you check that out. If there's any day where I don't post a video, it's very likely I've put something up on there, or I've talked to you guys somehow on the community tab, so make sure you go check that out. Like yesterday, when I couldn't stream, I made sure to put something up on Twitter, and I made sure to put something in the community tab. But then also, once the Discord is done, that's where that stuff would live. And speaking of Discord, we're making some massive changes. Not necessarily changes, but we're building the new Discord. The new Discord is currently work in progress. And it's going to be really cool. We have some really cool ideas with it, and we'll talk about it more in the upcoming days. But today, I'm working with someone to get the Discord, to put a ton of work into Discord, and then tomorrow I'm also working with that person to get the Discord also up and running very well. And this isn't a normal Discord. This is not what you guys are going to be used to with most people, where it's just kind of where you come and hang out, and then if there happens to be a content creator on there, you'll see whenever I post a video, or you'll see when I go live or whatever. No. This is a very legitimate, full-ass community. A whole-ass community. Because it's not just Escape from Tarkov we're talking about. We're talking about Ashes of Creation. We're talking about Star Citizen. We're talking about all of the other shooter games other than Escape from Tarkov that I love. And we're talking about all the RTS games that I love. It's generally speaking a massive community, and I'm doing something very special so that we can make sure it is the best community that we can get in a Discord from a public perspective. So anyone can join, but there is going to be some things that tie you up a little bit. Just to make sure we keep any toxicity and any trolls away from important roles or important points of the community. And you guys will hear more about that in the next few days here. But anyway, let's catch up with everyone. That's for later. Today's topic is going to be player inertia being a useful trade-off. Those of you guys that have been around here for a long time know my feelings for this and know probably what I'm going to say with this stuff, because I've explained it a couple times, but I wanted to make sure I made it a very specific topic. So yeah, we're going to get into that a bit today, but we're going to let people get here first of all. So let me get through the good mornings here. Barwin, how we doing? Hey Raleigh. Hey Dankin. Hey Margus. Morning Lemon. My birthday is next Friday. I'm getting old. Oh, that's how it works, Hammer. Hey, Eamon, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Morning, Elias. What's up? Love the work putting in and support you're giving to the game, and I'm just wondering, what is your biggest gripe with this game? Right now, it's the biggest gripe that I have is that I wish that the custom armor hitboxes were in the game sooner, and I also wish that you could pick your leg up a little bit more so that you don't have to jump over those little ledges. So it's not necessarily a vault. Like, it's not like I would try to get over one of the barriers or something and then I wish there was vaulting. It's literally just those things that, you know, if this was a real person, you would just lift your leg up a little bit more, but you can't. You just can't. So you have to jump in the, of course, anyone on that half of the map knows that you just jumped and just heard you. So biggest gripes, I wish that the custom armor hitboxes were in the game sooner and that you could literally just pick your leg up a little bit more so that you don't have to jump over stuff. That's it. What in tarnation is Inertia? We're going to get to that in a second. Is there an event tomorrow? No, Galax. Also, I want to make sure I got to your question up here because you said, can we expect a podcast? There will be a podcast before 12.11. They always do a podcast before a significant patch, and 12.11 is going to be a significant patch. Now, you have to be careful with how you're wording that, Galax, because you said if we are expecting a wipe in 12.11, we are not expecting a wipe in 12.11. I am. So make sure you point that directly, because who's the we gonna be? If we're talking like that, who's the we gonna be? Is that anyone that reads that? Are they gonna think that Nikita said that? Are they gonna think that BSG said that? Because they didn't. They said that they are not planning to wipe, and although that could be a lie, basically on their end, because they don't want people to freak out. I am saying that I think it makes sense that 12.11 could be. So we have to be really careful. We have to be really careful with it. We're not spreading misinformation. We're not getting people too hyped up for something that could potentially not happen. So You gotta make sure we word that correctly. You know how to get better ISP? No, and for the love of God, if you figure that out, please let me know. I see we have a spicy topic. It's a little bit spicy, Tierish, but we'll get into that actually because it's probably not as spicy as you might think. Can't wait to do some big Arma 3 stuff in the new Discord for sure. King of the Hill for Arma is going to be great. King of the Hill with a big group is going to be awesome. What did you think about Jesse Kazam was saying about fixing the game economy? Jesse's been a bro lately. He's been really cool lately. I don't know which one you're talking about specifically because I don't watch too many of the videos myself. I literally don't really watch much of Escape from Tarkov myself, period. Other than the Rivals tournament. I really like the Rivals tournament, which we can get into a little bit today. But I know the ones that he tells me, he'll DM me on Discord and he'll get my perspective on some stuff. Or the ones that I'm in his chat. If I'm in his chat and we're discussing stuff. Like I know there was, excuse me. I know there was the civilian flea market that I was talking to him a lot about. And although it was a great idea, I did talk to him behind the scenes a little bit. And now he's sort of on the same train that I'm on. At least it looks like he's on the same train that I'm on. Where these discussions are great. It really gets the community together in a positive light. And it helps us get feedback to the game. But doing something like that is not a priority for BSG. And unfortunately, sometimes people from BSG they're just they just want to interact, right? So they just want to talk to the community. They want to get some feedback. They want to see what the community is into, and they just want to have a discussion, and they want to have some movement going on in terms of the future of the game and just basically just discussion, really. That's really all they want. They want people talking about the game. So they'll say stuff like that, which is how that started. Someone on Twitter that's from BSG tweeted asking about how we would change the economy, what we would do. I personally said that I would add a delivery timer to the flea market because it adds time to something that shouldn't really exist, which is instant access. So everything in Escape from Tarkov, the whole ecosystem of Escape from Tarkov revolves around gameplay. Like you should really have to earn your items or earn your money with blood or sweat. Like you should go into a raid and you should have to loot and you should have to figure that stuff out. Now, if you end up making that money, then you can use it on the flea market, go for it. But what I don't like is how it's instant. So you have literally instant access to whatever the fuck you want, and it kind of negates a lot, and it kind of takes away from a lot of the rest of the game, which we're not going to go into super big detail with this, guys. This is just kind of a quick thought process with why I set a timer. So instead of having no access, you can still get that slick armor. You can still get that M4. You can still get that ammo. You can still get those meds. You can still get those quest items. You can still get only a couple of the quest items, like gunsmith, the gunsmith parts, stuff like that is what I meant really specifically there. You can still get those things. It's just that there's going to be a bracket system, or my idea would be that there would be a bracket system to that. So if it's like less than 10,000 rubles, sure, you can get it instantly. You want an extra attachment, you need an extra couple bullets just to finish off a mag or just to bring a couple extra with you. Sure, instant, that's fine. The kind of the quote unquote that would be like right up the street kind of a thing in terms of
microwave
delivery. Should they add going to the bathroom? Dude, chill the fuck out. I don't know why people keep adding that. No, I don't think that makes sense. But anyway, so yeah, so that would be like a right up the street. That would be close by with the delivery for that. But then if you wanted something that was like 10,000, or sorry, if you wanted something that was more than 10,000 rubles, maybe it takes a minute. Maybe it takes a couple minutes to get there, depending on what the item is, depending on how much it costs. If you end up paying 100,000 rubles for something, maybe it takes a few minutes. Maybe it takes several minutes for that item to get to you. And then when you get those million ruble items, when you get those big significant items, there needs to be some security around that. Like lore-wise, it would they need to make sure that gets to you, and they need to make sure that it's secure. So what if it took like a long time? What if it took like in in-game days, like, you know how the clock moves quicker? I don't know. I forget if it's like 3 or 4 times quicker, however much quicker it is. What if it just takes like a day, an in-game day to get to you, however long that might be? That is just my idea. So instead of instantly having access to everything that you want from level 10, instead of waiting the 20 minutes or whatever it might be to get your end game loadout instantly, instead of waiting, if this were to be a thing, instead of waiting 20 minutes to get your loadout, maybe you go and do a scav raid. You go and you actually play the game. And yes, I know that getting the loadout is you going to go play the game, but it's you going to go play the game that isn't necessarily what it's supposed to be, which is everyone is always running around with the best gear all the time at a certain point. Or it goes the same way the other direction too, because you're trying to make money, so you're going to rat around, you're going to pistol run, you might even hatchet run, stuff like that. So you're supposed to be a hardy PMC. There's supposed to be a middle ground in there. You're supposed to be a hardy PMC that has some good gear. Maybe your gun has really good ammo in it, but that doesn't mean that you have level 6 armor. It doesn't mean that you also have the best armor. It doesn't mean that you also have the best setup for your gun. It doesn't mean that you always have all the skills in the world and stuff like that. There needs to be trade-offs, which is why we're getting into what we're getting into today. So that was a massive fucking tangent a little bit, and that was also like a side topic for today. But trade-offs is also what we're going to get into for Inertia, and that's why I wanted to get my thoughts out for that. So yes, I honestly think the civilian flea market Jesse presented makes sense. It totally makes sense, but I completely forgot that that's where all this started. Nikita has said it himself and this is what I talked to Jesse about too. I literally have the DMs right in front of me over here from Discord, from me talking to him. Jesse and I talked for like 2 hours through Discord DMs about this stuff because, and we have come to the agreement that yes, it's a good discussion, but it's not necessarily in the best interest of BSG, and they probably won't end up doing it strictly because we are in a testing environment right now and they have their plan. So the way that I described it to him would be that BSG are currently, everyone knows I forget if it's like called a metaphor or whatever it would be, that BSG are trying to right now they have a round hole, and they're trying to stick a square peg into that hole, but they're trying to shape the peg right now, right? So they have that, so that let's say that round hole is the ideal game. Like that is their plan that they have for the future of the game. So it's the old metaphor, you know, trying to put a something peg in a certain hole or whatever. Everyone understands that. Everyone understands putting pegs in holes. Everyone gets that, and the shape of the peg and all that stuff. So they have a round hole, and they're trying to jam a square peg into it right now, and they're trying to shape that square peg into what they want in order to work for that round hole. Doing something like changing the flea market significantly or changing how the game works significantly is not us trying to make it easier for them to shape the peg. It's us trying to change the hole, which isn't the plan. That shouldn't be the plan, because their end goal, their end idea for the project, they're the only people that know what the entire thing what the entire thing fitting together is supposed to look like, and they have a reason for it wanting to look that way. So us making ideas or us giving feedback to change the hole instead of the peg isn't necessarily what they're looking to do, because it completely changes all the work that they've done, and it completely just throws away their current ideas, and it makes things very messy. Things are already pretty messy. They've already increased the size of their team. They've already added a ton of features because the community has grown, the game has grown, the scope has grown a lot, which can get very messy very quickly. They call it feature creep. It definitely has popped up to that at certain points for sure. So they need to be very careful about what they do with that, and there needs to be structure to it. So ideally what you would do is you finish making the hole. You make the hole, and then you talk about maybe we can make some additions, and then maybe we can work on the peg a little bit, and then maybe we can change it a little bit from there. Having an idea that cuts off the flea market like that, unless it's like a timed event, which is they're going to have stuff like that pop up with the dynamic economy events and stuff like that. Having stuff like that pop up, like I said, it doesn't change the peg, it changes the hole. And unless it's like a timed event or something like that, it's really not ideal for their idea of the game, because so far so good, right? So far so good. They have a good idea. They have this cool raid system that we really haven't seen too much from other games. They understand movement. They understand a niche audience for this game. So they know what they're talking about. Nikita knows what he's talking about in terms of lore. It's just really cool stuff that they're doing. So let them do them. Let them do what they want to do with the full project. Let them get it out the door. And then we talk about making changes like that. There's a difference between making big changes like that, like the civilian flea market, or locking the secure containers and stuff like that. And then there's like little iterations here and there. There's little things that can quickly be changed or quickly even be made. That'd have to be very quickly if it actually requires significant man hours. And then also would have to be very good. So they have to think of it from an effort perspective, and they also have to think of it as a plausibility perspective. So something like a civilian flea market is theoretically that could work, but it could require a lot of testing. And theoretically, what would that do to the community, though? Because a lot of things can happen with that. There's a lot of things that are tied into the flea market, especially where we're in a testing environment where Nikita wants access to everything. He wants easy access to everything, even though the more expensive stuff should still stay expensive. He still wants easy access to everything for testing purposes. It doesn't necessarily fit. It does not necessarily fit. Now, what it does fit is if the game is finished and we have like a unique event or something, or if we see that whatever their plan is right now doesn't end up working, then we talk about something like that. And Jesse and I we completely agree with that. We agree that we need to let BSG do them. We need to let BSG actually finish their idea, finish making the hole, finish making the peg, and then see how well their round peg fits into their round hole. And then if there's some jagged edges, or if there's something that we think we need to give feedback on, or if we think we need to change because it just doesn't work correctly, then we can add some lubrication, right? We could work with them. Maybe we can shave off some of those jagged edges, or maybe we can figure out some things that might make it easier for that to fit together and make it easier to work out. So that was the discussion I had with him, and he actually agrees. So as much as that feedback is good, it's not necessarily something that they would want to do right now. But it doesn't mean that we don't have that discussion. It doesn't mean that he doesn't go and make that video. It doesn't mean that he doesn't go and have that stream. It doesn't mean that I go and I don't talk about it right now, because the discussion is still good. They're going to take notes, which is probably what that guy from BSG that asked that question did with that. He took notes about it, and he realized what we are worried about as a community, and then he's going to remember that, and he's going to take it with him as they go throughout the rest of the production of the game, and then they can see what happens towards the end of the game, stuff like that. Oh boy, massive tangent there. All right, let me take a sip of coffee here. I didn't F, did I? You guys still here? I think I'm still here. Let me check something. Yeah, I'm gonna F to fuck. Yep. I'm back. I think I'm back, guys. Think I am back. You are back. It dropped for a second. Okay, yeah. So welcome to why I do not stream on Twitch. Welcome to why I do not stream on Twitch. Refresh the page, boys. Refresh. Yes, it's back. Yes, it's back. Yeah, put that up in chat a little bit. If you guys are having problems, refresh. Welcome to why I don't stream on Twitch, because if that had just happened, my internet basically, I don't know what it is, but it's just a micro stutter or whatever, and it just goes out for like 2 seconds and then it comes back. If that happened on Twitch, I would have had to restart everything. I would have had to completely restart the whole stream and everything. So welcome to why I don't stream on Twitch. But luckily YouTube can pick it right back up where I was. And in the VOD too and everything. Anyway, guys, that's a massive tangent, and we can get to that later. But I will let you guys know that there's some really cool stuff happening. I'm constantly, like, Clean's video that he made on Twitter the other day, like, that was, he was probably gonna end up making a video about that anyway, but I was talking to him in DMs. So it's really cool that a lot of people are kind of figuring out that I know my shit, and I'm starting to get into talking with people. And like, I've been talking to Pest for a long time. I've been talking to like Dottie and Ghost Freak and all those guys, all those big names in the community for a long time now. But now it's starting to span out, and it's really cool that I get to have these discussions with people. And that's a topic for another day too. Clean's thing about like what tournaments are, and I have a little bit of a different perspective than he does. I still wanted to hear what his perspective was on it, and I have a little bit of a different one, but generally speaking, we agree. And that could be a topic. That could be a topic for another day as well. Just as much as that should have been everything that I just talked about with Jesse. There should have been a different topic for a different day, but we just kind of said fuck it and did it anyway. So yeah, last time I talked to him, the last thing we have here is that we did agree that we need to let, we do need to let BSG make the hole and make the peg and then see what happens. And if there's a couple jagged edges or if it needs some lubrication somewhere, giggity, then we can help them with that. We can figure that out. But they still sure as shit are taking those notes and they're inquiring, you know, to feedback, and they want to know what the community thinks all the same as we are making our way to the completion of that hole and the completion of that peg. All right. That was definitely a massive tangent there. But I did want to get to a topic today. I did want to get to another specific topic for today. So, those of you guys that have been around for the last few weeks will probably have heard me say this specifically once or twice. But when it comes to player inertia and when it comes to trade-offs, I'm a big trade-off guy. I think that if you want to do something big, if you want to do something very useful in a game, it should mean that you are giving, like, if you how's the right word to put this? If you want to do something in a game that is the best in a certain criteria, you should definitely be giving up something else in trade for it. So for instance, if you want the best movement, if you want to move around quickly, then what are you going to give up to do that? And obviously with inertia, we're still talking physics here, and things that we already have in the game right now would be armor. So once inertia is coming, I am not arguing against adding inertia. I'm not arguing for adding inertia. Actually, scratch that. No, I am arguing. In fact, I am arguing for inertia coming into the game because it'll help add that trade-off. And, you know, it kind of does need to change a little bit because it's just a little bit weird. It's broken right now. It doesn't really make too much sense for a realistic shooter, even though this isn't supposed to be like a simulation game. It is supposed to still be as realistic as playable. Inertia belongs. A version of inertia definitely belongs in here. But I kind of think that there should still be an ability to move around the way that we see the movement, maybe a little bit turned down a little bit. But this is like the worst case scenario when it comes to crazy movement right now, because we're in the most unpolished part of the wipe cycle, because there hasn't been an update in a long time. So there's just a lot of desync, there's a lot of bugs and stuff that they just need to get to, which they aren't because they're going to put it in the next patch. But that's a topic for another day. Just trust me with that. There's a point where you just need to stop working on one patch to work on the other one, basically. And so we're at that point for this. We've been at that point for like, I don't know, for like a couple weeks now, for this current patch. And then so let's just we'll get into the trade-off here, because I was going to go on another tangent. Let's just, fuck that. Let's just get into today's topic, because we already had a massive tangent. So, my thought process is, keep a version that is similar to the movement that we have right now, but not the same, because you are not going to have that level 6 armor, you're not going to have those ergo bugs, you're not going to have the desync, you're not going to have everything that you have right now that makes the AD spam that we see and the crazy movement and the reason why people are arguing for inertia, what specifically they see in game. So my theory, and I don't know if this is if theory is the right word, because it's kind of proven like that's the real reason why people really hate inertia right now, or why people really hate the player movement right now, is because it's a combination of everything, right? Like I just said, it's a combination of that player having max skills. So chances are that person that you see moving around real crazy and is super difficult to shoot because of the AD spamming and all that stuff, chances are that person has max strength, max ergo, max, all their health skills, max most of their skills, in fact, for all of that, on top of level 6 armor that covers their entire torso, or maybe it might even cover like their arms, part of their arms and stuff as well. Desync. And, of course, no inertia, so you do get that combination, which is just a shitstorm of just bad. My theory is that in the future, we're going to have a little bit less desync. Desync's never going to fully go away. That's just not possible. Desync is never going to fully go away. There's going to be those issues. Bugs are theoretically going to get worked on, and most of them are going to go away. Ideally, there's lots, not ideally, but, theoretically, there's never a point where you will have no bugs. But there's just a point in development where bugs are a higher priority than they are right now, and they're not, we're not at that point. Like, bugs are not, depending on the bug, really, depending. But things like what I'm about to talk about is not necessarily the highest priority. Like the ergo bug. Right now, there's something to do with, like, if you load a magazine in-game or in-raid, or you keep it in your backpack or something, there's some kind of ergo bug, which I couldn't care less about in this game. So I'm not the guy to ask about that stuff, but there is some kind of ergo bug where, like, if you load a magazine in raid or whatever, it takes away the ergo for that magazine. So you can do 60 rounders and not have the ergo debuff with those 60 rounders if you do something weird with it. I don't care. I run 20 round mags with my PLAD M4 and I do just fine. So yeah, that's usually what you'll find me using. Anyway, so it's a combination of right now what we're seeing, and right now the uproar for Inertia and what everyone wants to see change, and the reason why everyone wants to see that change come to the game is because it's the combination of that player having max movement skills, that player using the best armor in the game, that player moving around in a desyncy unfinished server, that player taking advantage of bugs that won't necessarily always be there, and no inertia. What I'm arguing for here, what I want to really talk about here today, is in the future, when we do have that inertia, I'd still like to see similar movement to what we see today, except it is a trade-off. You will not be able to get that movement if you are wearing significant armor. You will not be able to get that movement if you are significantly heavy. And it wouldn't be anything worse than what we're seeing right now. It definitely wouldn't be quicker, but it would at least be, something similar, because I do think there's a version of the movement that we have right now that is fine. Like, I agree that I actually think that some of the movement that we see right now is fine. It's just not fine with everything that I just mentioned with the level 6 armor, the desync, the bugs, and all that stuff. So my idea really is a trade-off. Inertia is going to be a thing no matter what, but if you wear level 6 armor, if you, not just level 6, because it could just be like that, the chest plate or whatever, but if you are wearing significant heavy armor, or if you are just a heavy person, like you're carrying a lot of stuff, because it is just physics, you should have more inertia taking effect on you, and you should move slower and all that stuff, which already does happen anyway. But in terms of inertia and physics, you should have worse inertia because, an object in movement wants to stay in movement unless another object, whatever. I'm not a physicist, but you guys understand what I'm saying. It's the heavier you are, the harder you are going to be able to move around and to be mobile and stuff like that. Where these days, you're running around just as quick with all that other crazy shit and the best armor and all that stuff. So, but what happens is, in the future, we're going to have that crazy armor that covers everything, at least to like a level 3, maybe a level 4 with the more malleable stuff, or with the more flexible armor and stuff like that. But what we're going to be seeing a lot of is people that are wearing minimal armor that are still able to move around a lot, but they are much easier to kill because of the custom armor hitboxes. So you might have a lot of people that see that just that front armor plate is most effective for them, but they still want to be able to move around a lot. And you're still going to very easily, if you get that person from behind, if they don't have a plate behind to their back or for their back, and you shoot them from behind, that's an open torso shot. If that person isn't wearing a full chest of armor, there's going to be gaps. And we have some shots to show that, but I'm waiting on Drunken Bullet here. Why is the Makarov so OP? Yeah, I don't know, man. Wait for this alert. There we go. USEC microwave, indeed. Makarov OP. So we're gonna get into that a little bit. We got some. This is literally just Google, but make it easy to show off here. So we'll move over to here. So this is literally, I just Googled heavy body armor. It doesn't mean this is what's going to show up in the game, but it is going to be very similar to what shows up in the game. So you're going to have people that want to go the full force, cover as much as possible, like this right here. So this is like your Gen 4s. This is like your Fort, stuff like that. It's going to cover as much as possible, but there is still going to be gaps. And it's going to be very heavy, and it's going to be difficult to move around in. And it can make you maybe it'll make you dehydrate quicker. Things like that. It should add significant issues for your mobility, basically. And it should also add more inertia to you. We'll see if that ends up happening. But then if you go with something like this, You do have maybe, let's say that's a level 6 plate. It's probably, that doesn't even look like a plate. That looks like flexible material, so it's some kind of like Kevlar or something. So there probably, maybe there's a plate like right here. Maybe I see a specific, just a little plate right there. But generally speaking, I don't think there's a plate in here. But let's say there's a plate in there. That's torso. That's torso. And then if you turn around, it'll probably be something similar on the back, where around the shoulders, it'd be something like this. Like, you can still get in the torso there. You can still get in the torso in there. And then if we get something like this. Oh, I don't want that. I just want to see the picture. Actually, can I do this? That either. What's this going to do? Okay. So something like this is you do get the coverage. You do get the frag. Or the fragment. You do get some of the protection from the fragmentation. And you do generally get more coverage. But look at how there's still gaps there. Look at how they're still there. That could be a level 6 plate that we see in here. That could be some more flexible stuff over on the side here. That could be, maybe we get a little bit of thigh armor going on right here. This isn't planned for the game, but this is just what I'm talking about. This is just, generally speaking, what I would talk about for coverage. But you can tell this is lighter. You still have the gaps. It's lighter. It's probably at most level 3. It would be like the equivalent of like level 3 in game. But it's not what we're seeing these days, where these days would be somebody wearing something like this, but it's level 6 and it covers absolutely everything here except for their stomach, but it covers absolutely everything in here, and they're yeeting themselves around. They're moving around all quick, and they can't see them. Oh, 80, all that stuff. Where, and with Inertia, it'd be a lot different, and they'd be moving a lot slower.
If I die with a hot-spotted grenade, why does it not blow up? Smirking face.
That's a good question. I don't know. A hot-spotted grenade? I don't even know what a hot-spotted is. You mean like if you've pulled the pin on it? Yeah, it's probably just a welcome to Tarkov, like some kind of desync or whatever. But yeah. So that's the general description of what I'm talking about here. So these days, we have this guy with very good armor that has no gaps in it. And they're yeeting themselves around. They're moving around everywhere. In the future, this is going to have gaps in it, and they're not going to be yeeting around so much. They'll still move slow, and they'll have a lot of physics involved with them, how they're moving around and whatnot. And then, if they want that better protection, they actually do want that covered, then they're going to have to go to that Gen 4. They're going to have to go to something that will actually cover that more effectively and leave them more protected, but it's going to be heavier. It's going to be that trade-off. You are going to be more protected, but you're going to be moving slower. And if they want to go even lighter to be able to move quicker, then you need to go lighter and you need to be able to move quicker, and now there's even more. This is something like a real slick. This is like what we're looking at for like a slick in game right now. And you have all this room, like there is nothing stopping a bullet going in there. There is nothing. But if from the front or maybe from the back, if he has a back plate in there, generally speaking, you've got your lungs covered and you've got your heart covered and you got your vitals in there that are covered. And you can move around really quickly and still have armor. And then theoretically, there should also be another part where if you don't wear armor, you can move around very quickly. That's what I'm talking about. So there should be that trade-off. Because right now, what makes it so bad right now, like I've said like four times already right now, is that it's the worst case scenario of the best armor, the best skills, the best speed, and it making them very difficult to kill. But in theory, or at least in my theory, is that if they don't have that crazy armor and they don't have that crazy speed, but they are still able to move like that, they still are able to move quickly like that, it makes it useful, but it also makes them easier to kill because they're not able to wear that heavier armor. They have to wear the less armor. They could very easily get killed by a shotgun normally where they wouldn't right now. Things like that. So you could go with the spray and pray technique and have it actually work in Tarkov because of all the gaps that they're having to do in their armor and all the gaps that are popping up in their armor because they wanted to move that quickly. It should be that trade-off. That's what I'm talking about. So more armor equals more inertia and tougher movement. Less armor equals less inertia and better movement. That's the core of my theory here. So the more armor that you wear, the heavier you are, and the more constrained you are. But you can have that trade-off, so you can be less protected and still move quicker. I want that. That's something that I want. I want to see that be a thing in Tarkov because I think that's cool. I think it's intelligent, and I think it leaves more thought behind what you want to do in game instead of just what's the highest number for the armor? Okay, best armor, put on. Okay, good, I'm protected. Let's go. Like, no, it's if you want to move quickly, like I like movement a lot better than protection. Depending on the game. Here I am saying that as I'm a tank in World of Warcraft, but I do like movement for some games. I do like movement over protection. And Tarkov would be one of those games. So we'll see what happens. I would like to test it once Inertia comes up, and I'd like to see something like that in the game, but we'll see. And this is where I get your thoughts. What do you guys think? Does that make sense to you? Do you just want no max Inertia? You just want, maybe you don't want people to move at all. Maybe you guys just want people to spawn in and then you can't move at all and you have to lob grenades at each other like that tanks game, like that browser tanks game. Let me know what you guys think. But the easiest way for you to do that, guys, remember, is at Nice Guy Space Tarkov. As you can see right here, if you guys do at Nice Guy Space Tarkov, like what Tirish did here, like what Agent did here, like what SoWhat did here, at Nice Guy Space Tarkov, it pops up in bright orange and it makes it much easier for me to see. So make sure we're doing that. And we'll move on to the chat Q&A. So what's up? What do you guys think? Does that make sense? Agent, by the way, thanks for finding that. I think you're the guy on Twitter because I think it was Agent FBS. If you are the same guy on Twitter, thanks for finding that the other day. Agent over here found a article that was explaining how gray boxing could be later in the development cycle, except BSG already said a couple times that it's early in the development cycle. So I know that you responded. I haven't had time to go back to it. There's just a lot of going on. So it's my theory. I'm pretty concrete in my theory that it actually is early. Like they actually are in one of the earlier stages of it. But I do know what you're talking about. But I'm also keeping in mind that it is BSG. So I still, given whatever it is, if they're calling whatever imagination of the word that you can possibly think of, if they are calling their current phase of production for Lighthouse a gray box phase, I don't see them getting it done in the next couple months, which is what they would need to do in order for it to make sense for that patch to be a wipe before Streets, which we're not going to get into that today. I've explained my thought process with that like 50 fucking times. And this isn't directed to you, Agent, by the way, because I appreciate your thoughts, but this is just to everyone else listening right now. My thought process with it, in order for Lighthouse to make sense, would be it would need to come in the next 2 months at most, so like a month and a half at most, in order for it to make sense as a wipe, so that we can get one in before Streets. If Streets is still coming this year, otherwise it's 12.11. But I don't see that happening. I do not see that happening. If they are in some kind of gray box phase, even if it is later in production, whatever phase, whatever ideas they might be having with it, unless it is a ridiculously small map, like the size of Factory, I don't see them doing it in time. I don't see them getting it done in time. Been playing a lot of Enlisted, which has a ton of inertia, and it's honestly warmed me a lot. It warmed me up to it a lot. That kind of movement still feels very fluid. No, for sure. There's plenty of us that have come from shooters that know what inertia feels like, and it does belong in the game. It makes sense to be in the game. I just think it would be cool if there's like that trade-off, like that big trade-off.
You suck microwave.
If you could, would you spend the time to search someone's secure case? Still not able to take item out of it. Thoughtful face.
Nah, because I pretty much know what's in it anyway. I mean, they're gonna have some meds. Maybe they'll have a Bitcoin in there or something. I don't think I'd be able to search it, especially if you can't take anything out of it. Yeah, fuck it, just leave it. Keltec P50, is that the P90 one? Is that where it takes the P90 mags? It's definitely not planned, but it would be cool. Look at Quattro Ace. He is nading his way in and out of raids. So, Quattro, is he doing like some kind of event or some kind of thing? Or what are you talking about? Or does he just have a lot of grenades? Because Quattro is a fucking savage, so he might just have a lot of grenades and he's just not out of grenades. Is that like a slant at grenade spam or something? Because that's the point of the wipe that we're in too. I responded, it seems like gray boxing and Unity is the early stage, but takes 90% of the time. I wouldn't say 90. There's an Agent, if you didn't catch it before, I have a buddy who is a very serious video game dev with many years of experience actually building in Unity, as well as Unreal. He's literally a very serious environment artist in the industry, and we're gonna be talking to him a little bit at some point in one of these podcasts. And he agrees that if you were to make it as simplified as possible and say that building a location in Unity was a 20 task, like there were 20 subtasks to that task, gray boxing would be either the first or the third. It'd be one of the first 3 things that you do for that. Generally speaking, unless there's something that he doesn't understand about the development, which there could be. So yeah, we don't know. But given what he said, given what I know about it, I think we're really early, and I think they're messing with us a little bit. To be honest, I think they're messing with us a little bit when it comes to Lighthouse. Either way, it's either way. Unless it's coming in the next 2 months, unless that is like practically done, is my point. Unless we have already seen something about Lighthouse, I don't think we're gonna get it in time for it to make sense. Is my point. I really don't think we're gonna see it in time to make sense, or it's just gonna be really tough. It's gonna be really tough, like another couple months of no wipe, and then we're gonna have like another several months of or Streets isn't coming this year. I don't know. It's a big side topic that I didn't want to get into today, but I appreciate you looking out. Appreciate you finding that stuff. Is it true that weapon malfunctions are coming next patch? Wesley confirmed it on yesterday's stream. I mean, yeah, Nikita said that Friday. Nikita said that Friday. Well, actually, we knew that a couple weeks ago. Yeah, weapon malfunctions for Scav Karma is going to be a thing. That is coming, yes. Do you think your plan for Inertia, if implemented, will result in some kind of class of geared players, tank scouts, etc.? Holland, yes, and that's also the plan. Nikita wants that in the game. Nikita wants people to be breachers. They want people to be scouts. He wants people to be like a designated like LMG guy. He wants that squad thing. He wants people to be broken up like that. And we're going to see the Scav factions that are actually organized be set up that way. So the UN are going to have squads like that. Russian regulars and the GRU are going to have squads like that. So that's actually the idea. That's actually the point. Already got that one. The heavier they are, the harder they should fall. No, really, fall damage should increase. Yeah, no, that's coming. They're going to do some stuff with fall damage. Mainly going to be outdoor grass areas, trees, etc. I'm assuming, which is very easy. Could be, Agent. Could be. We'll see. What's your opinion on the other door opening options, and when do you think they will come? Not soon, TM. It's planned, but not soon, TM. Levy do, because I asked about it in my Q&A, and he didn't give us any kind of approximation with it or anything like that. So I would say that they definitely are still planned. They definitely are still coming, but I don't think they're soon, TM. I think there's some reason why they don't have it as a higher priority. If you would have multiple classes, Tarkov, what would you be? I would probably be a scout. I like being able to move around a bit quicker, and I do like my slower not rat, because when I find my opportunity, I'll kind of yeet myself in there. But I do like my slower gameplay, and I like sniping. So I think scout's the right word. I think a ballsy scout would probably be my best would probably be my best title, because if I see an opportunity that would make me a lot of like in-game money, or it would be very good for me if I just ran in there right now, I would do it. But at the same time, I do like sniping. I do like moving around and kind of being a stealthy dude. Will skills have active abilities, or will they only give passive buffs? Skills are just passive. Did you enjoy Rivals? I did. I had a lot of fun watching Rivals. I did not have fun seeing how everyone had their chats run at other people because their favorite streamer died to somebody. That was fucking stupid. Yeah, I talked about that a few weeks ago when I knew that Rivals was coming up. I wanted to talk about that. I think what was it? I think I titled it. It was for one of the streams. I titled it something along the lines of the potential problems with turning Tarkov competitive right now, or something like that. Because it happened exactly the way that I was worried about it happening, which is there was desync, there were things that went wrong, and people played the game the way that the game was supposed to be played, and they killed people that played the game the way it was. It's not necessarily the way that it's supposed to be played, but is fun to watch. So basically, the people that ended up winning played the game the way that isn't fun to watch, so they don't usually have a lot of people watching them, and they don't have that big of a fan base, while the people that have the big fan base, because they usually play the way that is entertaining to watch. Where was I going with this? While the people that do have the bigger fan base because they play a way that is more entertaining to watch got really far. They did get very far, but it didn't end up working out against people that knew what they were doing. I'm trying to be as liberal as possible, and I'm trying to be as fair as possible to everyone here. But Escape from Tarkov is not... It's not built a certain way for a reason. So if you play the game that certain way, you're going to get caught. And that's what happened. So I'll leave it at that. Now, do I think there's other tournaments that are to come that will make it a lot quicker? And do I think there's more to come that would make it more interesting to watch for everyone from every perspective? Absolutely. Because if there's one thing that we learned right now, actually there's two things. If there's one thing that we learned right now, it's that it was a lot of fun to watch. If you were a fan of Escape from Tarkov and you understand the game, that was a lot of fun to watch.
Been watching you a long time, dude. Here is to your continued growth and success.
Where'd that come from? Oh, I just had that pop up for me just now. Okay. Hey, Twist, thank you very much for the 20. You didn't need to do that. That's kind of you. Thank you very much. Thanks for being a nice guy. Been watching a long time, dude. Here's to your continued growth. Thanks. Twist, very, very much appreciated. You didn't need to give that much, but hey, all the same. Thank you very much, dude. Too kind. But yeah, so, right. I think it is going to be the best of both worlds because obviously BSG are getting behind the tournament scene. They want to see that, and it was fun for me to watch. As a fan of the game, I actually sat here while I was working on some other stuff, which we'll hear about later. While I was working on some other stuff, I had that in the background, and there were times where I would just drop everything. I would want to watch what Landmark was doing, what Clean was doing, what Dottie was doing, what Jesse was doing, what all those guys were doing from the different perspectives, and being able to see the different angles and knowing, like, oh, he sees him and he sees him. Oh, we gotta see. That's just really cool. That was really cool and really fun to watch. So I guarantee there's a future in it. There's just a lot to come. There's a lot that needs to happen before we take it a bit more seriously. And that was the first thing. That was the first thing that we learned, is that it is a ton of fun to watch. The second thing is that a lot of the community, there is a significant portion of the community that really misunderstands what Escape from Tarkov is, and that's worrying. So that's the second thing that we learned. There is a significant amount of the Tarkov community that does not know what's coming. They do not know what Escape from Tarkov is actually going to be, and we need to fix that fucking right quick. We need people to understand that this is, another topic for another day because we're actually running out of time here. But yeah, if you play in more tactically, like in a squad right now, it's really worth it. Everyone can run the same gear and all play different role because doesn't negatively affect the game for sure. And that's actually gonna kind of stay. That's gonna continue to be a thing and it's actually gonna get even better as we go, because they do want squads to be a thing. So once we get buddy healing and body dragging and all that stuff, squads are gonna become even more effective for sure. Also, even though you are in a Discord with your buddies, VoIP, I believe, is going to be very, very useful for squads, even if you are in the same Discord, because it's very simple positive identification in close quarters. So have a maybe you can stay, maybe your mic will pick up all the time, or maybe you have voice activity set up for your mic or whatever. But once VoIP is a thing, there's obviously going to be some kind of push to talk in game for the VoIP. I would suggest you have your most popular button for VoIP stay the same. If you're going to have, like, let's say the push to talk for Discord, and then have a second button for VoIP in game. And then if you say, yeah, I should be up around the corner from you, and then just talk in game, but don't talk in Discord. Or maybe both or whatever, but there's probably going to be a little bit of delay, and it's probably going to be confusing. So, like, you can just say to your buddy, yeah, this is me, and just real quick in game around the corner so he knows it's you. That kind of a thing. That'd be really cool, and I think it's going to be super, super useful. Was really frustrating missing most of the action during Rivals was watching the mainstream and the cams they use. Well, that's another thing. It's very difficult. It's going to take a lot of getting used to. And they're just not always going to be there on time. So the best thing to do for that kind of stuff is like a rewind. So highlights. So the highlight reel, if they do end up doing a highlight reel from Twitch Rivals, is going to be fucking awesome because they're going to have like all the best movement and all the best stuff, kills and best plays and all that stuff. Whereas to seeing it live is super difficult unless they have some kind of like God mode, like not necessarily like they're on the ground and they can be seen, but you know what I mean, like there's like a floating camera and they can see from above and they can watch everyone, like what you see with like an Overwatch and the competitive Call of Duty and like pretty much any competitive first person shooter like CS:GO and stuff like that, where you have those spectator modes that can fly around and shit. Wait, did it? Oh shit, it did. The Raid full film release, guys. So if you've already seen the Raid series, it's you already know what's coming here. Good call, good call. I know Nightbot bopped whoever said that, Greg, but that's because you used all caps, but I appreciate you. Okay, cool. Cool. Am I showing something I'm not supposed to show here? Let me do this. Let me click this. All right, this is good. Yeah, guys, if you go over to Twitter and you check out Battle State, I'll retweet it too. Yeah, this is a very appropriate. Oh, I can't show it. This is a very appropriate GIF here. This is a very appropriate SpongeBob GIF that this guy put up. Where is it? Come on. God damn it! Come on. A very appropriate, very appropriate response to this tweet here. But yeah, so if you guys have already seen the Raid series, then you'll know what most of that's about. But they did add. They obviously added all the episodes in together, but they also added little bits and pieces to make it make sense to have them merged together. So there is some added stuff, and there's also some behind the scenes. So what do I want to do here with this? I kind of want to watch this with you guys, but I don't have time to do it today. Maybe we'll do it later today. Either way, I would suggest if you guys have the time, go watch it because there is going to be the added time. I'm definitely going to watch it. It'd be cool to watch it with you guys. I just can't right now. So I need to figure out some stuff. That'd be really cool to watch. And we'll see what happens with it. I just liked and retweeted it, and then if you go over to Battle State Games Twitter, you got that popping up on there. But anyway, guys, that's really cool. So that's some cool news. But that's also going to do it for today. Really good chat. Very good chat. And we didn't even have the street slideshow up, but we did. Usually we have the street slideshow up, but oops. We just were in chat today. We were just in talking. In the talking verse or whatever you guys want to say. I can't words right now. So that's going to be really cool. But anyway. Arjar, I do kind of agree with you to a point with that, but that's also people that are in charge of controlling the community, which is like the content creators, also have a bit of a problem with that as well. So we can talk about that on a different day. But anyway, guys, we were kind of all over the place, but I have a hard stop today. I have to get out of here in the next couple minutes. But later today, maybe I'll do something where we can watch that Raid episode or the Raid movie together and stuff like that. But I got shit I gotta do today, so I have to head out of here. But anyway, great talk today. Great talk for Inertia. If you guys had a point or if you had a question or anything that I wasn't able to get to, I am going to be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm going to go from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. as usual on the channel here for Good Morning Tarkov. And if you guys missed anything from today's stream, the VOD's going to be up. But then also pretty soon, within like the next hour or so, I'm going to also have this episode up on Spotify. So if you want to listen on Spotify, that'll be a thing as well. And if you guys are watching the VOD, there's going to be some timestamps in the description and the top comments. But other than that, thank you guys very much for hanging out today. I really love all the discussions that we have every day with these. When I didn't get hit in the head with the puck, and when I'm actually able to stream and talk to you guys. So yeah, great discussion today. Really cool stuff. Thank you guys very much for hanging out. I love you, and have a nice day. See you guys.